Carl Jung, the legendary Swiss psychologist, believed that within each of us lies a hidden key, a path to uncovering our true self. Unlike Freud, who focused on the unconscious as a storehouse of repressed desires, Jung saw it as a gateway to transformation, a vast realm filled with symbols, archetypes, and wisdom waiting to be explored. In this video, we will journey through Jung's most profound ideas, uncovering the tools to awaken your authentic self. From the moment we enter the world, we are taught how to behave, how to act, and how to present ourselves in a way that is acceptable to others. This process begins in childhood when we first learn to speak, dress appropriately, and follow societal norms. As we grow, we develop an external identity that allows us to function in the world. This identity is what Carl Jung called the persona, the social mask we wear to fit in, to be liked, to succeed, and to navigate the expectations placed upon us by family, culture, and society. The persona is not inherently bad. In fact, it serves an important role. It allows us to adapt to different social environments and communicate effectively with others. Without a persona, we would struggle to function in society. We create different versions of it depending on where we are. One persona for work, another for friends, yet another for family. This flexibility is necessary, but problems arise when we become so identified with our persona that we mistake it for our true self. When this happens, we lose touch with who we really are underneath the mask. Many people spend their entire lives trapped in their persona, living as a version of themselves that is shaped by external expectations, rather than inner truth. They define themselves by their career, their social status, their achievements, or by how others perceive them. They suppress parts of themselves that don't align with their chosen image, afraid of being rejected or judged. Over time, this disconnection from the true self leads to feelings of emptiness, dissatisfaction, and even existential crisis. Jung believed that true psychological growth begins when we start to recognize the limitations of our persona and seek what lies beneath it. This requires deep self-reflection and the courage to question whether the image we present to the world truly aligns with our inner reality. Shedding the mask can be difficult because it often means facing fears of rejection or failure. However, Jung saw this as a necessary step in the journey toward individuation, the process of becoming one's most authentic self. To begin this process, one must first acknowledge the persona and become aware of how it operates. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching? What parts of myself do I hide from others? What would I do if I had no fear of judgment? The answers to these questions reveal the gap between your persona and your true self. As you bring more awareness to this gap, you can begin to shed the layers of false identity and move toward a more genuine way of being. Breaking free from the persona does not mean completely abandoning all social roles or responsibilities. Rather, it means no longer being controlled by them. It means allowing the authentic self to emerge and shape the way you engage with the world. This process is not always easy, but it is essential for true fulfillment. Jung's teachings remind us that behind every mask, there is a deeper truth waiting to be discovered, a self that longs to be fully realized. Beneath the surface of every individual lies a hidden world of emotions, desires, and impulses that have been suppressed, denied, or ignored. Jung called this the shadow, the unconscious part of ourselves that contains everything we reject or fear. It is made up of the traits, weaknesses, and instincts that we were taught were unacceptable, either by society, culture, or personal experiences. Rather than integrating these aspects of ourselves, we push them into the unconscious, hoping they will disappear. But the shadow does not simply go away. Instead, it lingers beneath the surface, influencing our thoughts, behaviors, and reactions in ways we may not even realize. The shadow is not just made up of what is conventionally considered bad. While it certainly contains our darker impulses, anger, jealousy, greed, selfishness, it also holds positive qualities that we have suppressed. Many people, for example, bury their own power, confidence, or creativity because at some point in life they were told that expressing these qualities was wrong or inappropriate. A child who was scolded for speaking up may grow into an adult who struggles to assert themselves. A naturally ambitious person may suppress their drive because they were taught that success is selfish. Over time, these hidden aspects form a shadow that influences every part of life, from relationships to self-worth. Jung believed that ignoring the shadow leads to psychological imbalance. When we refuse to acknowledge our hidden aspects, they manifest in destructive ways. This can take the form of projection, when we see in others what we refuse to see in ourselves. For example, a person who denies their own anger may constantly accuse others of being aggressive. Someone who suppresses their own need for attention may resent those who seek recognition. Projection allows us to avoid facing our own darkness by externalizing it onto others. It is why people often criticize in others what they secretly struggle with themselves. One of the most powerful ways the shadow reveals itself is through emotional triggers. When something deeply irritates, angers, or upsets us beyond reason, it is often because it is touching on an aspect of our own shadow. The things we judge most harshly in others are often reflections of our own denied traits. Understanding this can be a profound tool for self-awareness. Rather than reacting blindly to our triggers, we can use them as a mirror to see what within us needs to be acknowledged and healed. Jung's solution to this hidden darkness was shadow work, the conscious effort to face, understand, and integrate the repressed parts of ourselves. This is not about eliminating the shadow, but about bringing it into the light of awareness. By accepting and working with our hidden aspects, we gain control over them rather than being controlled by them. Shadow work involves deep self-reflection, honesty, and sometimes the guidance of therapy or journaling to uncover what has been buried. One effective method for confronting the shadow is to observe patterns in your life. What types of people trigger strong reactions in you? What fears hold you back? What emotions do you avoid expressing? Writing down these observations can help reveal the shadow's influence. Another powerful practice is to take ownership of traits you have disowned. If you find yourself judging others for being too assertive, ask yourself if you are suppressing your own ability to be assertive. If you resent people who seek attention, explore whether you have been denying your own need to be seen and valued. The process of integrating the shadow is not comfortable. It requires facing parts of yourself that you may not want to acknowledge. But Jung emphasized that within the shadow also lies immense potential. By embracing our hidden aspects, we gain access to deeper creativity, resilience, and personal power. The shadow contains not only our darkness, but also our buried strengths. When we integrate it, we become more whole, more balanced, and more in touch with our true selves. By facing the shadow, we move beyond the illusion of perfection and embrace the fullness of who we are. This journey is not about becoming flawless, but about becoming real. Only by acknowledging both our light and darkness can we step into true self-awareness and transformation. Jung's teachings remind us that the parts of ourselves we fear the most often hold the greatest keys to our personal growth. Within each of us exists both masculine and feminine energies, regardless of our gender. Carl Jung called these inner aspects the anima and the animus. The anima represents the feminine qualities within a man, while the animus represents the masculine qualities within a woman. These energies are not about biological sex, but rather about the deeper psychological and spiritual balance between different aspects of the self. Jung believed that integrating these opposing forces is essential for self-awareness, personal growth, and the journey toward wholeness. The anima and animus are shaped by our upbringing, cultural conditioning, and personal experiences. From childhood, we absorb ideas about what it means to be masculine or feminine. Boys are often taught to suppress emotions, avoid vulnerability, and prioritize strength and independence. Girls are frequently encouraged to be nurturing, passive, and accommodating. These social expectations can lead to an imbalance in the psyche, where a person over-identifies with one side and represses the other. A man who suppresses his anima may struggle with emotional depth, intuition, and empathy. A woman who rejects her animus may find it difficult to assert herself, make independent decisions, or embrace her personal power. The anima and animus do not simply disappear when repressed. Instead, they manifest in unconscious ways, influencing relationships, perceptions, and behavior. A man who has not integrated his anima may project his unacknowledged feminine qualities onto women in his life, seeing them as mysterious, overly emotional, or even dangerous. He may idealize women as goddesses or resent them for possessing traits he has denied in himself. Likewise, a woman who has not integrated her animus may project it onto men, either idolizing strong, assertive figures or feeling intimidated and powerless in their presence. These unconscious projections can lead to dysfunctional relationships, unrealistic expectations, and an inability to form deep, authentic connections. Jung believed that true psychological growth comes from recognizing, understanding, and integrating both the anima and animus. This process requires deep self-reflection and the willingness to confront aspects of oneself that may have been ignored or denied. For men, this means embracing qualities such as sensitivity, emotional intelligence, and intuition. It means allowing themselves to feel deeply, to express emotions without shame, and to develop an inner relationship with their creative and nurturing side. For women, this means cultivating assertiveness, independence, and rational thought. It means trusting their own decisions, embracing ambition, and developing a sense of inner authority. One way to begin this integration process is by examining personal biases and cultural influences. Ask yourself, what qualities do I admire in the opposite sex? Do I allow myself to express these traits, or do I reject them within myself? If a man finds himself drawn to women who are highly intuitive and emotionally aware, it may be a sign that his own anima is calling for recognition. If a woman is attracted to men who are strong-willed and assertive, it may indicate that her own animus is seeking integration. Instead of projecting these qualities outward, one can begin to develop them internally. Another powerful method for integrating the anima and animus is through dream work. Jung believed that these inner aspects often appear in dreams as figures of the opposite sex. A man's dreams may feature female characters who represent different stages of his relationship with the anima. In early stages, she may appear as an idealized lover, a nurturing mother figure, or a mysterious, unattainable woman. As he deepens his inner work, the anima evolves into a wise guide or muse, leading him toward greater self-understanding. Similarly, a woman's dreams may feature strong, authoritative male figures who initially appear as domineering or challenging, but later transform into sources of inner strength and wisdom. Engaging with creative activities can also help bring balance to the psyche. Art, music, writing, and other forms of expression allow both the anima and animus to emerge. For a man, exploring emotions through poetry, dance, or introspective writing can help connect him to his anima. For a woman, engaging in leadership roles, strategic thinking, or intellectual pursuits can strengthen her connection to the animus. The goal is not to abandon one's natural tendencies, but to cultivate a sense of inner harmony where both masculine and feminine energies coexist in a healthy, balanced way. In relationships, the integration of the anima and animus leads to deeper understanding and less projection. When a man has embraced his anima, he no longer seeks emotional fulfillment solely from women, but instead develops an inner source of love and intuition. When a woman has integrated her animus, she no longer depends on men for strength and direction, but instead cultivates these qualities within herself. This allows for more authentic, equal partnerships based on mutual respect and self-awareness rather than unconscious needs and projections. Jung saw the anima and animus as bridges to the unconscious, guiding us toward individuation, the process of becoming a complete, whole individual. When these forces are integrated, a person moves beyond rigid gender roles and societal expectations, stepping into their full potential. They develop a deeper connection with themselves, greater emotional and intellectual balance, and a stronger sense of purpose. Ultimately, the journey of integrating the anima and animus is about embracing the totality of who we are. It is about dissolving the artificial barriers between masculine and feminine within ourselves and recognizing that both energies are essential for a fulfilling and authentic life. Jung's teachings remind us that true wholeness is found not in rejecting one side of our nature, but in honoring and uniting both aspects in a harmonious dance of self-discovery. The journey of self-discovery is not simply about understanding different aspects of the psyche, but about unifying them into a cohesive whole being. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the path to becoming one's truest, most complete self. Individuation is not about perfection, but integration. bringing together the conscious and unconscious parts of the mind so that a person can live in harmony with their inner nature. This process requires courage, introspection, and a willingness to confront the hidden aspects of the self. It is a path that leads away from societal expectations and conditioned identities toward an authentic way of being. From birth, individuals are shaped by their environment, learning what is acceptable and unacceptable in their family, culture, and society. They develop a persona, or social mask, to navigate the world, while the rejected parts of themselves are pushed into the unconscious, forming the shadow. In addition, they internalize gender roles and expectations, which shape their relationship with the anima or animus. Without conscious effort, people remain fragmented, identifying only with the parts of themselves that conform to external expectations, while remaining unaware of the deeper, hidden layers of their psyche. Individuation is the process of breaking free from these limitations and reclaiming all aspects of the self. Jung described it as a journey toward wholeness, where a person no longer suppresses or denies their unconscious, but instead learns to integrate it into their conscious life. This does not mean acting on every impulse or desire, but rather understanding and working with them. It is about becoming a fully realized individual rather than a product of societal conditioning. The first step toward individuation is self-awareness. A person must begin by questioning their own beliefs, behaviors, and motivations. This requires looking beyond surface-level identities and exploring what lies beneath. Why do I behave in certain ways? Why do I react strongly to certain situations? What parts of myself do I reject or fear? Answering these questions begins the process of uncovering the unconscious influences that shape one's life. Dreams play a significant role in individuation because they provide direct insight into the unconscious. Jung believed that dreams communicate through symbols and archetypes, offering messages that the conscious mind might not recognize. Paying attention to recurring symbols, emotions, and figures in dreams can reveal hidden aspects of the self. For example, encountering a threatening figure in a dream may represent an aspect of the shadow that needs to be acknowledged. Engaging with these symbols through reflection, journaling, or therapy can help bridge the gap between the conscious and unconscious mind. Another crucial aspect of individuation is confronting and integrating the shadow. This requires acknowledging the parts of oneself that have been denied, whether they are weaknesses, fears, or even positive qualities that have been suppressed. This process is often uncomfortable because it forces a person to accept aspects of themselves they may have avoided. However, the more one resists the shadow, the more it manifests in destructive ways. By consciously working with it, a person can transform hidden fears into strengths and unconscious patterns into conscious choices. Individuation also involves balancing the inner masculine and feminine energies. Many people remain stuck in rigid gender identities, rejecting traits that do not align with societal expectations. A man may avoid emotional vulnerability, fearing it will make him weak, while a woman may resist assertiveness, believing it will make her unlikable. Integrating the anima and animus allows individuals to embrace the full spectrum of human experience, leading to greater self-understanding and healthier relationships. This balance creates inner harmony, reducing the need for external validation and projection onto others. The process of individuation is deeply personal and unique for each individual. There is no single path or timeline, and the journey is often non-linear, filled with moments of clarity and periods of confusion. It requires ongoing self-exploration, as well as the willingness to challenge one's own assumptions and limitations. It is not about reaching a final state of enlightenment, but about continually evolving and deepening one's connection to the true self. Throughout history, myths and stories have illustrated the process of individuation. The hero's journey, as seen in countless legends and narratives, mirrors this inner transformation. The hero begins in a familiar world, is called to adventure, faces trials and challenges, descends into darkness, and emerges transformed. This journey reflects the psychological process of confronting the unconscious, integrating the shadow, and emerging as a more whole individual. Like the mythical hero, each person must embark on their own journey of self-discovery, facing their inner demons and uncovering their hidden strengths. One of the final stages of individuation is the realization that the self is not defined by external roles, possessions, or achievements. Many people spend their lives chasing success, approval, and material wealth, believing these things will bring fulfillment. However, true individuation comes from within. It is the ability to be at peace with oneself, to embrace one's complexity without fear, and to live authentically without the need for validation. It is about moving beyond the limitations of the ego and recognizing the deeper, interconnected nature of existence. Jung saw individuation as a lifelong process, one that continues until the end of one's life. It is not about eliminating suffering or achieving constant happiness, but about developing a sense of meaning and purpose. Those who embark on this journey find that life becomes richer and more meaningful, as they are no longer controlled by unconscious fears and external expectations. They begin to experience a deeper sense of connection to themselves, to others, and to the greater whole. Ultimately, individuation is the path to true self-discovery. It is the process of reclaiming the lost and forgotten parts of the psyche, uniting the conscious and unconscious, and stepping into a more authentic way of being. Jung's teachings remind us that the greatest journey we will ever take is the one within, and that by embracing our full selves, we unlock the deepest potential of our existence. At the heart of Carl Jung's teachings lies the idea that the search for meaning is one of the most fundamental aspects of human existence. Unlike animals, which live instinctively, human beings are conscious creatures who seek purpose beyond mere survival. This search for meaning is not just an intellectual pursuit. It is a deep psychological and spiritual need. Without meaning, life can feel empty, directionless, and even unbearable. Many of the struggles people face, anxiety, depression, dissatisfaction, stem from a sense of disconnection from a higher purpose. Jung believed that true fulfillment comes not from external achievements, but from an inner journey of self-discovery and spiritual realization. Throughout history, humanity has turned to religion, philosophy, and mythology to make sense of existence. These systems provide stories, symbols, and frameworks that help people understand themselves and the world around them. Jung saw these traditions as reflections of universal psychological truths rather than rigid doctrines. He believed that myths and religious symbols originate from the collective unconscious, containing archetypes that guide individuals on their journey towards self-awareness. Rather than dismissing these traditions as outdated, he encouraged people to engage with them in a personal way, seeing them as maps to deeper understanding rather than literal truths that must be blindly followed. One of Jung's most important contributions to the search for meaning was his exploration of archetypes. These are fundamental patterns of human experience that appear in myths, dreams, and cultural narratives across all societies. Archetypes such as the hero, the wise old man, the great mother, and the shadow are not just characters in stories, but representations of aspects of the human psyche. By recognizing these patterns in our own lives, we gain insight into our inner world and the challenges we must overcome. For example, the hero archetype represents the journey of personal growth and transformation. In myths, the hero often starts as an ordinary person, is called to adventure, faces trials and obstacles, and ultimately undergoes a profound transformation. This mirrors the process of individuation, where a person must face their fears, integrate their unconscious, and become a more complete version of themselves. When individuals see their struggles as part of this greater story, they find a deeper sense of meaning in their experiences. Another powerful archetype is the wise old man or wise woman, which represents inner wisdom and guidance. Many people spend their lives seeking external validation and advice, believing that others hold the answers they need. Jung emphasized that true wisdom comes from within and that every individual has access to an inner guide that can provide insight and direction. This inner wisdom often speaks through dreams, intuition, or moments of deep reflection. Learning to trust this inner voice is a crucial step in the journey toward meaning. Jung also explored the role of synchronicity in the search for meaning. He believed that certain events in life are not merely coincidences, but meaningful connections between the inner and outer world. These moments, where the external world seems to reflect our inner state, act as signs guiding us toward deeper understanding. A person struggling with a difficult decision might repeatedly encounter a symbol or message that speaks directly to their situation. These experiences suggest that life is not random, but filled with hidden patterns and deeper significance. spirituality plays a central role in Jung's approach to meaning. Unlike traditional religious teachings, which often focus on external rules and doctrines, Jung's spirituality is deeply personal and psychological. He believed that each individual must find their own relationship with the divine, whether through religion, meditation, nature, creativity, or personal reflection. This inner spiritual connection provides a sense of wholeness and purpose that cannot be found in material success alone. Many people go through life searching for meaning in external achievements, career success, wealth, relationships, only to find that these things, while important, do not provide lasting fulfillment. Jung taught that true meaning comes from within, from aligning with one's deeper self and embracing the journey of individuation. When a person lives in alignment with their true nature, they feel a sense of purpose that is not dependent on external circumstances. They no longer need to chase validation or fear failure because they understand that their worth is not based on societal measures, but on their own inner growth. Creativity is another essential pathway to meaning. Jung saw artistic expression as a way to communicate with the unconscious and bring hidden aspects of the self into the light. Whether through painting, writing, music, or other forms of creative work, individuals can tap into deeper truths that go beyond rational thought. Many artists and visionaries have described their greatest works as something that flowed through them rather than something they consciously created. This sense of being a vessel for something greater is a profound source of meaning. Relationships also play a key role in the search for meaning. Jung emphasized that human connection is not just about companionship, but about psychological growth. The people we meet, the conflicts we face, and the love we experience all serve as mirrors that reveal different aspects of ourselves. Deep relationships challenge us to grow, to confront our fears, and to integrate parts of ourselves that we might otherwise ignore. The search for meaning is not a solitary path, but one that is enriched by our interactions with others. Ultimately, the search for meaning is a lifelong journey. It is not about finding a single fixed purpose, but about continually deepening one's understanding of oneself and the world. Life's challenges, losses, and transitions all serve as opportunities for growth, pushing individuals toward greater self-awareness. Those who embark on this journey find that meaning is not something that exists outside of them, waiting to be discovered, but something that emerges from within as they embrace their true nature. Jung's work reminds us that meaning is not found in external success or rigid belief systems, but in the unfolding journey of self-discovery. By integrating the unconscious, embracing archetypes, paying attention to synchronicity, and cultivating a personal sense of spirituality, individuals can create a life that is rich with depth and purpose. In the end, the greatest realization is that the meaning of life is not something given to us, but something we create for ourselves through the way we live, the choices we make, and the depth of understanding we cultivate.